friends. Eat That Frog. Chapter 15. Technology is a terrible master. There is more to life than just increasing its speed. Mohandas Gandhi. Technology can be your best friend or your worst enemy. Technology becomes the enemy when we give in to an obsessive need to communicate continually. This compulsion to stay plugged in leaves us all psychologically breathless. We have no time to stop, smell the roses, and collect our thoughts. You have a choice. The key is to keep your relationship with technology under control. Bill Gross, who managed more than $600 billion in fixed income funds and bonds when he was with PIMCO, PIMCO, is famous for exercising regularly and meditating daily to keep centered while using no technology at all. Despite turning off all his devices, he never misses an important message. For you to stay calm, clear-headed, and capable of performing at your best, detach on a regular basis from the technology that overwhelms you. A researcher who asked a group of CEOs and entrepreneurs to unplug from technology found they had improved memory, deeper relationships, better sleep, and a greater likelihood of making life-transforming decisions. When people are too plugged in, communication technology quickly becomes a destructive addiction. A destructive addiction. People wake up in the morning and obsessively check all their phone notifications before they leaving. I apologize. When people are too plugged in, communication technology quickly becomes a destructive addiction. People wake up in the morning and obsessively check all their phone notifications before leaving their beds. They then race to their computers for yet more typing before even eating breakfast, drinking water, or brushing their teeth. People are now checking their smartphones about 46 times each day, according to one study, and about 85 times a day, according to another study, which found that people were accessing their phones twice as often as they thought. Don't become addicted. In Washington, not long ago, I was at a business luncheon with a room full of high-level executives. Prior to the beginning of the luncheon, one of the organizers stood up and said a short grace. All the executives bowed their heads. When the grace was over, the luncheon began. However, at my table, 4 or 5 out of the 8 people seemed to have been greatly affected by the prayer. They kept their heads down and their hands in their laps, even when the food was served. They seemed to be lost in deep thought over the profound questions of the day. Then I realized that they were not praying at all. They were all intensely focused on their smartphones, sending and receiving emails, typing like frantic teenagers, playing video games. They were all lost to the world around them, drowning in a deep sink full of information exchange. Take back your time. One of my clients found himself bound and chained to his computer, receiving and responding to emails several hours each day. The more time he spent at his computer, the fewer of his other important tasks he was able to get done. The stress caused by these undone tasks, building up like an avalanche overhang, started to affect his personality, his health, and his sleeping habits. We taught him about the 80-20 rule and how it applied to emails. He deleted and unsubscribed from the 80% of his emails that had no value. Of the remaining 20%, only 4% required immediate responses. The other 16% could be transferred to an action folder to be worked on later. Refuse to be a slave. Unchain yourself from your computer. Unsubscribe from all unwanted newsletters. Set up an autoresponder that says, I check my email only twice per day. I will reply as soon as possible. If this is an emergency, phone this number. A journalist for Fortune magazine once wrote that when he arrived back at the office after a 2-week European vacation, he had more than 700 emails waiting for him. He realized that it would take him a week to get through them all before starting on important projects. For the first time in his career, he took a deep breath and punched the delete all button, erasing those 700 emails forever. He then got busy with the projects that were really important to him and his company. His explanation was simple. I realized that just because somebody sends me an email, it does not mean that they own a piece of my life. Although not many people would delete their entire inbox, you can definitely delete and ignore more emails than you do right now. Empower yourself to remove all emails that don't relate to important goals and relationships. Someone will tell you. People often ask me at my seminars, but don't you have to stay plugged into technology to keep current with the news? I tell them, quote, if it is really important, someone will tell you, end quote. Many people unplug from the news, and surprisingly enough, they remain well informed on most important subjects. You should do the same. Eat that frog. 1. Resolve today to create zones of silence during your day-to-day activities. Turn off your computer and your smartphones for 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the afternoon. You'll be amazed at what happens. Nothing. 2. Resolve to unplug from technology for 1 full day each week. By the end of your digital detox, your mind will be calm and clear. When your mental batteries have time to recharge, you'll be much more effective at eating frogs. That, my friends, is the end of chapter 15. Have a good evening.